Okay. Zoom. We need Zoom link here. All right, send it out. Let's see if got anyone available. There we go. Okay, why not? We'll announce Instagram too. It's probably one of the last times I'll do that. Let me share my screen while people are hopping on. Okay. I'll send the post to Instagram and then I'll get into it. Chart is just a placeholder right now. It's not going to be the first thing I talk about. Okay, let me copy this link here. Grand Rising, everyone. Happy Universe Day, huh? Kian says Happy Universe Day. Let's go. I don't know much about Universe Day, but let's see. I'm just posting this link to Instagram just to let everyone else know. Cool. Posted. I posted last minute for Instagram because this it's kind of public right now, but these live streams are going to be premium feature probably within a few weeks. So I just like post this for people to catch at the right time, people who are paying attention. But then obviously post to the mentorship group and Discord. So yeah. Anyway, we got Bitcoin up. We'll definitely talk about crypto. I'm glad Keon's on. If he gets a chance later, love to have him see what he's having talk about, what's on his mind, and see if he sees anything in the charts. I'm really excited. First thing I'm going to announce to everyone, I'm not at my home. Those of you that recognize the normal background, is not present currently. I'm in a town called Merida in Mexico. I came here to meet with some business partners, and we're talking about the development of this crypto, this DAO, this decentralized fund, basically. And so we're making imagine a hedge fund, if you're familiar with a hedge fund, but where anyone has access, not just people with specific net worths, so that people can become investors. I don't know if any of you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. It's been a long time since I read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Pretty good book. But I've watched some trainings of his where he talks about this cash flow quadrant. And I remember being in different multi-level marketing things. They used to teach this a lot. And I want to mention this. I want to just share this because I do think that the average person anyone can become an investor. By becoming an investor, that's where higher levels of freedom, at least financially, are able to be experienced. Now, to get to the mindset of an investor, to a lot of people think, or to I guess be able to live off of income for investments, you have to have the mindset of an investor. And so most people believe, oh, to be free, I need to be wealthy. But actually, you need to free your mindset, expand your mindset, and then you can start to accumulate wealth to make space for it. It's all about what we learn, how we learn to operate in the world. But anyways, I want to say that I want to fast track as much as I can, as much as I can contribute, as many people as possible to get to this investor platform. The hedge funds that are out there that do crazy numbers, there's a lot of them where you need to have like at least a $10 million net worth. And so, that's the idea of the rich keep getting richer. But what about someone who's making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, and they're working 40, 50 hours a week consistently, and they don't have the time maybe to go spend extra energy for school. If they have kids or whatever, they can't go learn a new skill maybe, and they aren't able to put extra energy into creating secondary or more incomes. So this fund, we're building a decentralized fund. What that means is that no one actually owns it. There's no company that owns it. It's going to be all based off of code. Now there'll be voting involved, and people will own percentage based off of specific ownership of coins. We're going to have probably, it's going to be represented as NFTs, but you'll get voting power. In the end, in the long run, all these decentralized organizations will be run on AI. That could be 5 to 10 years out. But anyways, what I'm getting at, to make it really simple, I have so many thoughts on this, but we're making a fund where we believe that we'll be able to pay people anywhere from 1% to 5% return per month automatically. Sort of automatically. We're going to have a team of traders. I mentioned to a few of you already know, that are going to be trading funds in the background. We also have a few other things that we're going to do. We're going to invest in communities. We want to have spaces where anyone who is contributing or is a member of the fund, they can travel around the world, live a more flowy, a more easy digital nomad lifestyle, have in this brand of the fund where they can invest and learn about investing and learn about crypto while making a return on their investment. And then go into these hubs where we call green points, or that we're going to call green points. They're all off grid, and they're workspaces. They're also apartments. We'll have chefs on duty, 24/7 smoothie bar, so that it's, especially for the traders contributing to the fund, but anyone else contributing, they can live that nomad lifestyle and stay 3 or 4 months in a beautiful place and never have to think about food or where they're staying. They don't actually have to own the properties. It's one of the best things, actually. I think as an investor, yeah, owning stuff it's cool, but also there's a lot of liabilities. And so what we're looking to do with this fund is to create a system, an organization where everyone has access to everything, but nobody owns it. The fund does, and it's managed, right? But no one has to worry about owning it. So imagine how that could expand, and the fund could own a couple jets. And so if you wanted to charter a jet, it's really easy. And since everyone, there's maybe 1 million people that have contributed to the fund and contributed to the ownership of this jet, for instance, it's a lot easier to access it. Now, scheduling will be a different story, right? We're going to figure all that out. But anyways, I'm just announcing this because I'm here and I've had these meetings, and probably within 6 months, maybe to a year, we'll have the initial release, the beta release, basically. We're already testing the team of traders a little bit in the background. I'm working with a few. Keon's working with the group as well. And just we're making plans, of course, of how the funds will be traded. That's the initial income of the fund, but there's so many different things. We're gonna have decentralized crowdfunding available in the fund, a bunch of different stuff. So I'm just excited to announce that, guys. It's in the space. We're basically taking what banks and what mostly banks, but wealthy people have done for hundreds of years, and giving access to everyone. that thank goodness to crypto. The world has been controlled, I'll say, in the past by I think two things mostly, and that's controlling information, and then the other was controlling money. And the internet coming out and expanding has been the freedom of information breaking out. And I think that crypto coming to existence is the freedom of money breaking out. So that's why we have the technology, we have the ability to easily create this fund. Yeah, there's work involved, but to where we can give anyone access, even if someone only has $10, they'll be able to invest. So I'm really excited for that. Coming soon, always going to need help, and I'm going to talk about it. And when we're looking for specific people that can contribute, you just know that I'll mention it. And if it's aligned, you'll hear it, and we can talk more about all of it, of course. So yeah, really excited. And I'm going to definitely get into charts a little bit. But one other thing I want to mention, just because it's been a topic of mine in my life for a few years now. But it's good to mention, and I know I have a few new people on the live that maybe haven't heard me say this before, but when it comes to expansion in all aspects of life, I believe that they will mirror the amount to which we expand in our finances, in our relationships, in our career, in our joy, in our peace, in all of it. I believe that it will mimic and mirror the amount that we're expanding spiritually. And I believe that it's really important to make sure that we have at least the idea or the knowledge that we can consistently expand spiritually forever. A lot of people in different religions, different spiritual practices, there is this end goal. Like in Christianity, it's like the end goal is to get to heaven. Once you've gotten to heaven, you made it, and that's it. And then you exist in heaven forever, right? And it's so limiting, because if we were just existing in the same state forever, even if it was pure bliss and joy all the time, it would get really boring. So we're going to want to be able to expand and grow consistently, because if we just stayed the same, we would get tired of it, no doubt. And so I know in my life that I have expanded in all ways when I started to expand my beliefs. There was a time where I did believe that maybe it's true, there's only heaven or hell after we die, and that's it. But now what I believe is that, and I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday a little bit. And I believe that if God is like an apple tree, we're all apples, and most apples will fall to the ground and get absorbed into the ground, or get picked and eaten, right? But some apples will roll far away, and the seeds will take root, and it'll grow into its own apple tree one day. So you and I, all of us, I believe that we have this opportunity to expand and become whatever God is now. I believe that we have the chance to become that. And what we are now, I believe that God once was that. And now I'm not saying this can happen in one lifetime, but I'm not saying that it's impossible. I believe that I've lived many, 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 many lifetimes. So obviously, that the one lifetime thing isn't for me. But anyways, what I'm getting to is when we have this knowledge of, okay, heaven isn't just the end, all right? And that means that in light, if you follow Buddhism or if you follow Hinduism, enlightenment or moksha, that is also implying that there's an end, that once I've reached this, I've made it, and that's it. And in my opinion, that when we reach heaven, or if we reach enlightenment, we're actually just opening up ourselves to the next level, what we could experience next. So what that means to me is, yes, that although God is to all of our whatever we could perceive, God is all and all knowing, and or the universe, the creator, the source, whatever name you want to give it, she, he, they. I believe that God is also expanding, and that the level that God is, we couldn't perceive how something or someone or some being at that level could keep expanding, but maybe at God's level, God is going to a higher level, So if that makes sense. But it's some people might question, well, I thought, isn't God everything? Isn't God absolute? In my opinion, true abundance, our true nature, true expansion is eternal. I believe that we are eternal beings. And so if we are eternal, that means expansion is also eternal. That means that our ability to learn more is also eternal. So to bring it back, if we are consistently in that frequency, if I have that knowing, just naturally, if I know that, hey, it doesn't matter if I'm not growing in this moment, or it doesn't, there's not an end, or after death, I can know that I go on and I continue. When we have the knowing so that we can spiritually expand forever, we're going to mirror this in our, like I said, our relationships and our joy and our peace and our growth and our finances, all of it. If we limit ourselves spiritually, we're going to limit ourselves in all aspects of our life. So just a thought, good thought before I flow into charts. But yeah, everyone perceives things a little differently. And I'm only talking about things from obviously my point of view over here, my experience with these eyes. But yeah, I definitely I can tell you though, for sure in my life, as soon as I open my mind to that idea that, oh wow, I can continue to expand and to grow and to shift and to change forever and get better all the time, everything got better, everything. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything I believe or whatever, just hit me up. Thank you for sharing, Grandmaster Yoda. I wish, dude, my ears aren't long enough. I need longer ears. Okay, so I started on Bitcoin because I just get because I've been in crypto, those that have known me for a long time, like know me for at least a few years or more. I've always been for like my friends and stuff, I've always been the crypto guy. And so I always get texts and I get people asking questions like, what's going to happen next? This is what people ask about most, I believe. So one thing I want to show you guys on the weekly chart here, we just had a weekly close. Well, like not just, dang, this week's going by fast. It's already Wednesday. So it's been 2.5 days since we had a weekly close. And this weekly close is a strong bearish close. So for those of you that are studying some of the, studying price action, you're working with charts, that if you're looking at this pattern on the 4-hour, on the daily, when we get a big candle like this, that very strongly overtakes a previous candle, especially where the previous candle is to the opposite side. So this white candle was going up and the blue candle here going down. So that tells us very clearly that the people selling have a lot more strength than the people buying. No deny. Obviously, if the people buying had more strength, we would have continued higher. Now, I've been telling everybody that this is kind of what I think is going to happen. And a lot of this is where I was getting some texts earlier this week, like, what the heck, man? Like, crypto's going down again. Is it going lower? And I'm like, yeah, I honestly think we go to 12,000. So I know I'm repeating myself to some of you. But with this last week's close, that further solidifies my opinion, further solidifies my hypothesis. We can really clearly see that we had support over here in May, where we came down, we touched it, we bounced up a little bit, right? Went sideways. And then when we came down, broke through that, we retested. And since we retested that exact level that was support, it flip-flopped as resistance. It just showed us that we're getting that downward continuation. So we are in a downtrend. How am I playing it? I am still 20% exposed to crypto. I bought a bunch of Ethereum. I actually sold a good amount last week, the end of last week, mid last week. But I bought a bunch of Ethereum. I bought a bunch of Solana, Saber, Bitcoin. So total, I am still probably maybe like 18% exposed. But I'm okay with like that 18%, it could go down. I could lose 50% of the value on that. Just because I'm prepared. and I know I have the long-term vision with crypto. If you don't have any money in crypto, I wouldn't go the full 20% that I'm in now. Maybe putting 10 to 15%, starting to buy a little bit, maybe even 5% right now, because we're getting some clear signs that we're going to go down lower. But definitely having money ready. One of the biggest regrets that I used to have in crypto, especially from the bear market in 2018, 2019, was that because I thought I was a genius when I was trading in 2017 and 2018, I didn't put any money aside. I'm like, I'm going to be rich forever because I got into crypto at a good time, and it just kept going up, going up, going up. And so I thought I was so smart. And when I realized that it doesn't just go up forever, and I lost a lot of my money, I kept basically gambling my money away, thinking that I was going to get lucky and it was going to come back and start going up again. So I didn't have much money, not nearly as much money as I wanted in 2018, really when that dip happened, a little bit into 2019. Well, actually, we can go back into the chart, but mostly 2018 here at the end of the year, when Bitcoin was down at like 3,000. I had no money here. But I did have like $300 or $400 that, because I was in this gambling mindset, I turned like a few $100s at this time into a few thousand. And it was going through this downward market. That's what got me into Forex, to start trading Forex. And I'm super, super grateful for it, because when we're trading crypto, when we're investing in in this market, we're looking at long term. It could be, if we look at the very top of the last bull market to the very bottom, I mean, we can technically say the bear market lasted until we broke the high from before. So bear market technically went from December of 2017 to basically December of 2020. So that's 3 years that the bear market technically went on for. So when we're investing in crypto, if we want to make money this month or over the next couple months or even this week, trading crypto it's just definitely not the best. So I got to take a drink of water. Sometimes my body can't keep up with my brain, and my heart. It's funny. But anyways, one of the biggest regrets I had, like I said, was not having money ready to buy the dip. And so that's why I don't day trade crypto so much anymore. I like to keep that money ready in order to buy when it goes lower. And knowing that it could be 3, and I'm even open to waiting 5 years before I see a return on my investment. So yeah, you guys just hearing this, just being in the know of this right here, you are ahead of like 95, maybe even 98% of the market of people investing into cryptocurrency. Okay, seriously, just being patient and waiting and knowing that it could always go lower, right? And it's very, very likely that it will go higher, at least for the next 20 years, I believe. I did the math. If you guys remember last week, I showed a bit of math of why I believe Bitcoin will go to, well, I showed on the calculator 2.8 million, but through my math, I actually believe Bitcoin is going to go to 4 million plus. That could take 20, 30, 50 years, but it is now it's an actual currency accepted by different countries. So you can't deny that anymore. It'd be like denying, the US dollar is really strong. Probably one of the strongest currencies, I would say, at the moment. Swiss franc's also strong, but let's say smaller currencies, denying Bitcoin right now, honestly, is like denying the Mexican peso, and it's not really a small currency, right? So like I said, it's literally accepted as legal tender by a couple different countries. And in Switzerland, there's this town that's testing it. Lots of places in Latin America. Where I was in Guatemala a few weeks ago, they're accepting Bitcoin at most of the little local shops. They nicknamed it Bitcoin Lake. It's called Lake Atitlan. And there's tons of signs all over. Even the local Mayans that make all the handmade stuff. They have little signs in a lot of the shops. So like, hey, we accept Bitcoin. Aceptamos Bitcoin. So it was really cool. I think a lot of people that invest into gold and use gold as a hedge to hold the value of their money, will really start to move over to Bitcoin, because a lot of people that invest into gold, they don't really hold the physical gold. It's done digitally, and Bitcoin is just a much more efficient way to do that, crypto in general. So yeah, Bitcoin's cool. Bitcoin's a great investment, but still things that are providing use case, I think are even a much better investment. Like if you're to ask me right now, over the next 25 years, which will have a bigger market cap, Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's honestly tough for me to say, because Ethereum is really providing use case. It's providing such a heavy use case, where Bitcoin, you can't do nearly as many things as you can on Ethereum. So, but Bitcoin's the first, and it's the first currency accepted by countries. So I wouldn't doubt both. And of course, I love Solana. I think Solana needs to visit though, like $20 again. I think everything's going to follow Bitcoin at the moment. So it's just kind of how it goes when we're in a bear market. Yeah. Ethereum looks like it's ready to go down too. Ethereum, my anticipation would be, we just bounced off of like 800. So since that's not really holding, I would guess anywhere from 5 to 600 that Ethereum goes down to. Being fully prepared that it could go to like 200 or 300. So pretty low from here, huh? It's like what, 1/8, 200. So okay. Well, I'm feeling good. Let's start by charting what some people like. SPX 500 or S&P 500, SPX being the call sign. I was charting this last week, and it depends on how this month closed. That's how I'm gonna say it right now. Weekly chart looks pretty decent for a reversal. We came up above and we made a new high above the previous high here. This was in May, June. See where we touched it, hit it as resistance. We came down, and because we made a new high, that's a change of trend. So now we're moving down to see if we can find support. If we don't bounce right around here, 4,100 level, then I would anticipate that S&P goes to like 3,940, something like that. The reason why I say that is in price action, just in recognizing patterns, the high before the breakout is one of the most common places that we see a retest. Okay, so just to explain that, here we're going down. You see we're in this downtrend. I have this purple line, kind of this wedge forming, but this top purple line here, this is the downtrend. So when we broke above that purple line, that was the breakout of that downtrend. So we started to break upward. So it is very common to retest the high before the breakout. So that would mean that this right here, where we came down, we came up, we bounced, and we came down a little bit before we went higher, that's the high before the breakout. So I trade this a lot in Forex and crypto. And so if we don't bounce here, and why do I say bounce here? One, because this is we're in this area where we could be technically retesting that previous high now as support, but also we had a little bit, how do I say this? This candle, this little one right here, was basically the first candle to match this high and to basically say that, hey, this isn't strong resistance, where it was resistance here, where the people were able to push the price down. Since we came up here pretty strong and we didn't have a strong wick, we didn't have a strong candle, and we didn't even have a downward candle, it said that it's not nearly as strong as it was before. And then immediately we have this candle break above. So I'm looking at just this area being where we saw resistance, and the fact that we broke it, to me, that's just the best place for us to see support. And if we don't, then we're going to go down and test this next. That's where I would plan, which is the high before the breakout. And we'll see if we support there. So I'm not much of a stock trader, so I wouldn't trust my analysis 100%. But I'm really good with price action. And when we're trading on the higher time frames, the price action works really well on almost any chart, any market that you look at. So I'm gonna flow into a couple Forex charts just to see if we see anything. And then I actually have to get into my day because I'm gonna be traveling back home today. So perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna be heading back home in about an hour. So it's like a 3-hour drive. So yeah, I'm gonna take another maybe 15-20 minutes. So I will flow into Forex charts, but I want to take any requests. Do you want me to chart any specific stock, commodity? You want me to chart rice, oil, gold, anything? We can run through it. Otherwise, do you have any questions about trading? Do you have any questions about what I was talking about earlier, growing spiritually? Do you have questions about the subconscious? I'm an open book at the moment. All good if not. You know me, I can keep flowing. Okay, well, you got the comments, you got the chat here. You can unmute yourself. Just interrupt me. It's all good if anything comes up. Well, let's see if we can find a trade. I haven't really been looking at charts this week. I've just been focused on a few things. But this is a good chart that I'm watching. I do see a pretty good potential trade coming up. This is the British pound versus the Japanese yen. Oh, wherever you want to go, just following. Okay. Yeah, I'll flow through. Yeah, Kian, if you maybe I was just on the S&P. I wanted to maybe if you want to state your thoughts on the S&P if you're down. Oh, whoops, I need to go back. Or I can keep going into British pound, Japanese yen because I see a pretty good buy coming in here.
Keep going, brother. I can post something later in the Signal or the Discord.
Tight. Okay, cool. I'll keep.
Yeah, you're in flow, bro. I'm just gonna be on the side here.
Sounds good. Yeah. So this is powerful, guys. I want you to know, like, the things that I'm talking about, for instance, retesting the high before the breakout, and the next thing I'm going to talk about here, these are powerful price action recognition techniques, just pattern recognition techniques that not many people know or see or pay attention to. And if you can apply some of these things, if you take it to your trading and you apply it, seriously, we'll take you to, if you aren't already applying it, we'll take you to the next level. Just being in the flow, to repeat, I mentioned to a lot of you, but I see the markets, the way that I'm able to see them is just like I see the ocean. I see the waves of the tides, the waves and the tides flowing in and flowing out, and the waves being fractals on the tides, and the seasons flowing in and out, and the breath flowing in and out. And so we can determine, sometimes the ins are stronger than the outs, and the outs are stronger than the ins. But in the end, there's always balance, right? The more we zoom out, things always come back to balance. I don't know why I'm zooming there. Let's see here. Here we can see some balance playing out. Euro USD, since we have enough history, every time we go up, we come down. Every time we go up, we come down. Every time we go down, we come up. And even though no matter how high we go up, we still will come down. And so going back to British pound, Japanese yen, to flow into the pattern that I'm seeing and why it looks potentially pretty good for a buy, we'll find out. Okay, ebbs, flows, tides, waves. So each movement up and down is an ebb or a flow. Tide flowing in, tide flowing out. Now, by paying attention to these movements, we can better keep track of this flow or get more in tune with the flow. So I'm going to make it really, really simple. If we compare the size of each movement, and the way I look at a movement is just from a bottom to a top and from a top to a bottom, okay, upward, downward. And whichever is bigger and is consistently bigger, that's where the momentum is, period. And so we can see, obviously, over the course of this chart, at the beginning of the chart versus the end of the chart, or right here is where the price is, we've gone up. So we are in an uptrend. We can clearly see that we got kind of this line going up here. So comparing and watching the movements, we had a strong upward movement, and then we had a strong downward movement, but not even half as strong as what the upward movement was. Looking specifically at the candle bodies. Yes, wicks matter, but not as much with this specific pattern recognition. So then we got another upward movement. And what do you know? This upward movement was bigger than this downward movement here. And I'm looking specifically at the candle bodies. We can see that this candle here, the body closed up here, which is well above where the first bearish candle, where it started. Now we did hit the same resistance level. The wicks touched the same area and we moved down. But notice how now, where we came down and we came back up and we did overtake this downward movement. Look how we've been moving down now, how many candlesticks it's taken just to be able to close at basically about half of this full upward movement. But when this upward movement happened, it was 1, 2, 3, basically 4, we can maybe count 6 total candles being part of the movement, since this was the one that closed above the high. But we're now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles in. We have 2 days and 6 hours left in this current candle. So 8 candles printed, and we're not even halfway down below the the beginning, or I guess this whole upward movement to compare. So it looks pretty good to go upward, in my opinion. Kian says he's in agreement on this trade. Fibs line up beautifully. We're building a base on 4.236 for the last month. Wedge looks like it could take a couple weeks to play out. Yes, this is happening very slowly, and I am on the weekly chart. And so if I were to just draw an arrow at how I believe the price would move, it'd be something like this, not like this, but something like that. So over time, if we look at on my little calendar on the bottom, that starts from now and that goes into November. So that trade could, in my opinion, could play out over a couple weeks, even, a couple months. But once again, there are ebbs and there are flows, and there are little fractal ebbs and flows and the bigger ebbs and flows, just like we are fractals of God. So when we tap into that, when we know we can see this pattern here, what I was just explaining to you about the momentum, the comparing the size of the movements, we're doing that on the weekly chart. You could take that down to the 5-minute chart and you could see the same thing. But now that over the course of the next few weeks or a couple months, even if you're looking at British pound, Japanese yen, the pattern recognition on the higher time frames, it is more in your favor to get into buys. So basically, you now know that if you go down to the daily, in the smaller time frame charts compared to the weekly, the 4-hour, that you might not want to get into sells, but better yet, just focus on better places to buy. And then when we see on those higher time frames any type of reversal or anything happen, we can switch our bias. But at the moment, I believe we have some awesome opportunity here on British pound, Japanese yen. Is there a trade that I would get in this moment? It's actually looking kind of good. Once again, let's compare movements. We have a fractal of literally the same thing I was just showing you guys. A little bit, mostly. What I'm comparing is this little upward movement here on the daily. It was 2 candles. Notice how we are halfway down of this total size of the candle bodies of this upward movement. And we are not able to have a candle body so far, even get close to the beginning of this upward movement. So we can see oppositely, though, this downward movement overtook this upward movement here. And this upward movement wasn't able to overtake yet this downward movement. So what I'm saying right now is we're getting a whole lot of mixed signals. At the moment, depending on how this daily candle closes, if we're showing support like this, if this candle closes in the area that it is, once again, we have 5 hours, almost 6 hours left. If we close this candle where it is, then we can expect some upside, but it's not a trade that I would open right now. Price is 161.666. So funny. Numerology aligned. Aligned. Okay, perfect. Perfect. I just got a text. We're thinking there's this car we're thinking about buying, and we want to drive it around for a couple weeks first. So they're letting us rent it to test it out. People are so nice here in Mexico. You'd never be able to do that in the US. It's a private, like found them on Facebook, you know. You'd never do that in US. Maybe there's some nice people. Okay, so moving on. So the conclusion on British pound versus Japanese yen is paying attention. We want to watch it for buys. So here's what I'm going to do in my trading view. I'm going to click the little orange flag, and my little orange flag says, hey, Cody, pay attention to this one. We can make it blue this time. I like to change the colors up. So I'm going to put a flag just to know that that's something I got to watch, and I'll just remove the flags whenever. What I could also do is put in some alerts, just saying, hey, if the price goes above here, you know, alert me on my app. But I don't really do alerts too much anymore. I do them to show people how to do them. But I'm so much into flow with my trading because it's just, I literally don't need to trade. But I love doing it. So I don't have alerts because I know that I'm at my best when it's not forced. And if I get an alert, you know, it could be easy for me to think like, oh, I need to go trade and check the charts now. If you're really good and you respect your own flow, alerts can be fine. Just knowing that if I get an alert for a trade and I'm not feeling it, that's the key, is you got to know that, you know, or know specifically what it feels like to have the mindset of a trader who is making successful trades. You got to know that. And so that if you get an alert on your phone, you can just ask yourself or just know, you know, okay, I should be trading right now, or I shouldn't. I noticed that when I had alerts consistently, there were just a lot of times where I was forcing trades. And so now I don't. I do set alerts here and there, and I'm really good at not forcing trades. But that's the thing, is we just don't want to ever force anything. We want to make sure we're in a good mindset. Kian, great question. Can you describe the feeling when you know it's time to trade? What are some characteristics? Okay, so that question, I need to come get some of my agua de pepino, my cucumber water, the chia seeds. Got to hydrate at the next level of water. The regular water with lime isn't enough to answer this question. Just kidding. So good. Okay, so also he said, so Cal's asking, what does it feel like? How do I know when it's good to trade? And adversely, how do I know when not to trade? So knowing when to trade, I'm clear. First of all, I know what it feels like to be focused. So just thinking about any time that you in your life, you've achieved something great, something that you're excited about, and it's something that took adversity to make it happen. Think about the focused mindset that you had to be in while you were doing it. Whatever it is, whether it's something that you achieved through school, whether it's something that you achieved through sports, through trading, whatever it is. And so I like to have that focused mindset, or be able to have a trigger to get myself into mindset, something that triggers me. So when I sit down, in front of my laptop and I'm paying attention like that, that's kind of a trigger for me. I put a specific music on. I know that when I put these specific playlists on, that it's focus time. So if I'm out in public, for instance, and my girlfriend and I, we were on a date and we were having fun, like that's not my frequency, that's not my mindset for trading. So what I feel like when I'm in that mindset is I'm focused, or I'm in a place where it's very easy to become focused. I also, sometimes I use tools like caffeine as a tool. If I'm not quite there and I want to get there, then I'll do it. Caffeine will help. Doing breath work will help. Doing Tai Chi also will help. I know that what the main thing I focus on every day is getting into a flow first, getting into my flow state. And if I'm not in flow state, just doing whatever it takes to get there, or trying different things, because sometimes it's different each day. And so I know the things though that make it happen: eating good food, hydrating really well, getting some sun, getting some exercise, doing Tai Chi, moving energy, doing a spiritual practice for sure, most importantly, but trying to make every part of life spiritual. Yeah, so what does it feel like? I feel focused, and when I'm doing these things consistently, daily, or at least consistently weekly, I know that it's a lot more often that I will be in that focused, clear, concise mindset. If an alert goes off, or if I'm tired, usually at 9:30 p.m. I'm almost useless. Like I start to get tired, and that's my wind down time. And usually 10:30, 11, like I'm sleeping. So if I have, definitely around that time for me, I'm not in it. I definitely won't be looking at charts. I'm definitely not feeling it then. So, if I see a potential trade, let's see, I see on Signal pop up, Keon posts a trade, or I post a trade, or anyone posts a cool chart, and they're like, hey, this looks really good. First of all, I go and analyze my own chart. I only make a decision based off of my analysis, number one. But number two, I never force it. I just ask myself, am I in a place where I should be trading right now? Am I focused? Is my mind clear? Do I feel calm? Do I feel at peace? Do I feel confident? All these things are things we can ask ourselves. And if there's a no to any of those, then maybe it's a good time to just go do something else and wait. So hopefully that answers it a bit. Yeah, and also being comfortable with walking away. One of the biggest things is that helped me with trading to be profitable was not only being conscious of when I shouldn't trade, but being okay with that. Like, because I had this battle sometimes going on in my mind where it was like, I need to trade. No, I want to make money. Got to make money. Got to expand my portfolio, and I want to buy this house and do this and do that, right? And so when I was like I would, if I saw, let's say, a notification come up or someone say, hey, look at this trade, it looks really good, because I had that little voice kind of, saying, hey, let's do this, go, force it, make it happen. It was really easy for me to just like make a trade when I wasn't in the mindset, because someone talked about it, and like, oh, if Keon thinks it's good, then maybe it's good, right? Or Twitter trading as well. And so the key, one of the biggest things that helped me to get over that was realizing that there is always another trade. There's always another opportunity. And that's life in general. There's always more opportunity. We will always have another chance. For the rest of forever, there will be another trade. And when I fully absorb that, then it is okay if I walk away from trades. It's so much easier to see it. So Amog asked if I use indicators and algorithms for alerts. No, not really. No, I don't use any algorithms. Keon might a little bit, maybe for alerts could be good. Keon's Fibonacci king, and I know he's developed some different algos. No, so I am purely au natural. I just get in the flow of the charts. I watch the candlestick patterns, and I get into trades when I see the flow. I'm like a surfer, a market surfer. If there's a wave, I'm good at finding the best waves to ride. And so the only thing that I use for alerts are price action, price levels. So like, and the way I do it is, for instance, I know for sure that this will go up when we break this high, when we have a candle close above here, because we touched this area, we went down, we touched it again, we've gone down a little bit, not as strong as here, but we've gone down. So as soon as we break this, to me, that means that we're for sure going to go up. So my alert would just be based off of this. I'm just going to say, hey, I want to see when we cross this. right? And even if it's, I'll know that when we cross it, I can watch and see if it's a wick or if we're actually getting a candle body closing above it. And right there, that's my alert. So then I know, hey, if this level gets crossed, then British pound Japanese yen is basically 95% sure going up to the next resistance line. But we've touched this now a couple times, so I think that we would probably break this the next time we touch it. It's higher likely that we would break it. And just simple reason, we touched it here, we went down pretty strong, and then we touched it here, and we haven't gone down nearly as strong as we did right here. So if we go up, then because we're testing it again, I think we'll just break through. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Thanks for your question, Keon. Had me going on a full tangent and a half. All good stuff though. Thank you for your question, Amog. I think, you know, over time, I'm going to put more energy into developing algorithms, but not for myself. The fund that I was mentioning, it'll be for that, so that we can test things on that to automate as much as possible. But not a big thing I focus on right now. I don't focus on it at all, actually. So amazing, guys. Well, I'm feeling good. I do have to go. I gotta go take care of some things, and I gotta go pay these people I'm renting this car from for like 10 days and maybe gonna buy. So appreciate all of your time and your energy just being here, contributing, watching, with questions and all that. Yeah, if Keon said he's down to flow with some charts, if you guys want to stick around. So I can do that. I can make Keon the host here. Perfect. Make host.